What's up YouTube? Today I'm going to talk about how are you going to raise your deposit to buy property. In my last video, I shared a calculator for you to calculate how much you need and the cost to buy a property. By now, you should be able to calculate how much you need to buy a property. If you haven't watched the video, you can click here and watch the video to know exactly how much you need to buy a property. Also, I created my personal tool. It's called Property Investment Simulator, where you can calculate how much you need and how to analyze your property. The link is in the description down here. Hi, I'm Danico. I'm property investor, business owner, and author. Number one problem when buying property is the upfront down payment. It is not the ability whether you can get a loan or not. In fact, it is all about the upfront down payment. Now, the good thing is because we are in Malaysia, our down payment on average for residential is about 10%. Whereas for other countries, for example in the UK, Hong Kong, Singapore, and other countries, we are looking at 20%, 30% or more. So I think Malaysia, we are still the good one. 20 to 30%, that is still a lot of money. Now let me put into perspective. Say for example, you are going to buy a property of 300,000 ringgit. If you were to put 30% down payment, that would cost you 90,000 ringgit upfront. It's just not everyone has that kind of money. Now let me share with you how to overcome the down payment problems. But in order for these methods to work, you have to make sure that you're buying property below market value. Now I will rank from the least favorable method to the best. Number one is credit card. Now as much as I don't like credit card, sometimes credit card really useful. And you know what? You can use credit card to pay as a down payment for the property. Now this is only work if you're able to bridge between the time when you book until the loan is dispersed. But I don't recommend this method, and that's the reason why I put number one, because it's least favorable method. Because in credit card, you are actually building up debts. But the reason why I bring this up, because there is a chances that this method will work, but it's not for everyone. And especially if you're thinking to use this method, please proceed with caution, because we don't want to deal with anything that building up our debts. So make sure you double check that you have a very good property. Words of caution here. Number two, personal loans. Now this is something I don't recommend as well, as you are technically building up debts and liability. What if the deal didn't went through and you ended up with a bad property and a pile of debts and liability? The personal loan method, if you are a seasoned investor, you will know how to leverage on the bank for the certain period of time, then you will make this work. And if that's the case, it is really good method. However, for those people that just get into property investment and you don't even know how to evaluate a good property, then I don't really recommend to use this, because this is more into the advanced level investors. Number three, loans from family and friends. Now this is something very easy. Okay, it's very straightforward. You just get the loan from the friend and family, and they will usually be able to support you. The good thing is sometimes they don't really look for anything in return. They just be there to help you, to assist you in your investment. But the thing is, you make sure that you need to pay them back. It's not, money doesn't come free. So that's why all you need to do is that you need to assure them that property is a good property, and then you promise to pay them back upon the loan dispersed. Perhaps this is a time where you're going to test out your relationship with your family and friends. Number four, joint venture. If you're unable to get the deposit that you need, perhaps you should think about JV, joint venture, with somebody that interested in investing in property and in the same property as you. Now you can have an arrangement like 50-50 or 70-30. It's really up to you how you want to structure that. Now here is the thing that not many people mention it. It's not just about the deposit, the proportion, how much we paid, right? But at the same time, we have to consider the whole process. For example, before we getting the property, during we get the property, and after we sold the property. What is the role of this JV partner? Are you going to put a lot of effort into it, or are you just putting the money? If that's the case, you have to make sure the structure is really clear and agreeable with all the parties. Okay, it can be one JV or maybe two JV partners, but you have to make sure you spell it out. What are you doing in each stage? Say if you are going to put your deposit, just like if the deposit need is 30,000 and he's putting like 15,000, but he's not going to do anything from the very beginning. Even though he's putting like 50% down payment, we still maybe structure maybe like 80-20 or 70-30 proportion of the profit sharing, because end of the day, property takes time, right? And involve a lot of processes from beginning, middle part, and ending, which is you sold the property. So that's why make sure you lay out the plan upfront with the JV partners so that we can manage the expectation of everyone. Number 5, negotiation. Now the market down payment is always 10%, where the 3% is actually on the booking for the earner's deposit, and the remaining 7% is actually the down payment upon executing the sales and purchase agreement. But did you know that you can actually negotiate with the owner that you only pay 3% upfront until the loan is dispersed? Now the standard practice is always there, alright, the 3%, the 7%. But then again, when we deal with human, it's all about how we build the rapport with the owner. A lot of time, my experience, I deal a lot of times before where I actually put down 3% as the down payment and the balance upon disbursement of my loan. So it really depends on how you brush up your negotiation skill in order to get what you want. Okay, this is something that really advanced that I have seen my other friends as well. You don't really need to pay the 10% upfront. With this, you don't need other people to fund you for the down payment. This method, I've done it, my friend done it, my other investors done it. So this is definitely work, and I can tell you that this method among all the rest is my favorite among all, because you don't need to rely on the bank, you don't build up your debts, you don't have a risk of liability, and you don't rely on your friends and family to do your investment. All you need is to brush up your negotiation skill and to get what you want. Now, end of the day, what I can tell you is that property investment is boring. But then again, we have no doubt that the return and the profit is super lucrative. That is what keeping me in property. But of course, you have to do it the right way. Alright, you cannot expect to simply buy the property and expect to have a lucrative return. It doesn't work like that. And word of advice here, try not to become too creative in terms of financing, because you will end up getting yourself in a huge debt and liability. I hope you find this video useful, and if you're thinking to explore in the property business, perhaps you should watch this video, Wholesale Property, of mine. Until next time, I'm Danico. I see you in the next video.